Hey, children's ministry leaders and parents, what is the value of a great, simple object lesson that teaches accurately the idea of salvation to children? Well, imagine you're like me, you think it's incredibly valuable. Well, I'm Dustin, and thank you for checking out Creative Kidmin, and that's exactly what I want to talk about today. I want to show you an illustration that I use with kids that I've found very helpful in just teaching the idea of salvation, and you need two cups to do it. One is busted up and broken, and I think you probably see where this is going. This is you and I who are tainted because of sin, and another one that is perfect and whole and unbroken, able to be used, and this is representative of Jesus. Verses that you can use for this are any number of verses. I'm going to use Ephesians 2, 8 through 10, and I like that verse because it incorporates the idea of purpose. These cups have a purpose and a function, and just like God has created us with that. And I really like using that verse because it kind of gets to the idea that God has made us for a purpose. But lots of other verses that you can use. Isaiah 53:5 is a good one. Romans 6:23, John 3:16. Any number. Pick your favorite salvation verse and use this illustration to highlight what it teaches. Well, today I've brought two cups with me, and you can see one of these cups is broken and busted, and it's not worth much of anything, is it? In fact, if you had this cup at your house, what would you do with it? I imagine you would probably throw it away just like I would. Well, this is representative of you and I. You know, sin, it talks about in the Bible, it separates us from God. It breaks us and makes us unclean in His sight. And unfortunately, what that means is really God should discard us. And it should just be, we should be separated from Him forever. And sin it's kind of tough to understand, but it's all the wrong things that we choose to do. Or it's knowing the right thing to do and not doing that. That's also sin. It's the thoughts and the actions, the attitudes of our hearts that go against God and make Him sad. Well, I have another cup, and that cup is this one, and it is not broken, is it? It is whole, and you could use it, and this is representative of Jesus. See, Jesus came and lived on this earth, and He lived perfectly. He wasn't tainted by sin and broken by sin. In fact, every time He always chose to do the right thing and glorify God in His actions and thoughts and attitudes and everything that He did, every word that came out of His mouth. Well, you and I, we just said that this is a cup that we probably would throw away and get rid of. Well, thankfully, God, who sees us and sees us like this, He doesn't see us as something to throw away and get rid of. In fact, He sees us as something and someone to redeem. And you and I are people that are worthy to God. And He wants to clean us and make us right. But the problem is, there's no way this cup is getting fixed on its own. It's just not going to happen. And that's exactly why God sent Jesus. You see, Jesus lived on this earth as a human being, fully God and fully man. And then at the end of His life, He died on a cross. And there's lots of reasons why, but essentially people were jealous of who He was, the religious leaders of the day, and they didn't like Him. And so they put Him on a cross, and what He did is when He died on that cross, He was a perfect sacrifice. He died to make us right with God. But you know the story. He didn't stay dead, did He? He died on the cross, and in 3 days He rose again. And here's the thing. When He did that, He takes and makes this, the sinful, ugly of our world, and He redeems it. And now what you and I need to do is when we know that Jesus died in our place and we are like this and we need Him to rescue us, we need to believe in Him. We need to ask Him to come in and forgive us for our sin. It's not just enough to know that we are broken in God's sight, and it's not enough to know that Jesus can restore it and cleanse it. What we actually have to do is we have to believe it and receive it for ourselves and say, you know what, God, I want You to come in. I want You to forgive my sin. I want You to make me more like Your Son, Jesus. And when we do that, it's kind of like what happens with this cup. Jesus comes into our lives. He makes us whole in God's sight. And now when God looks at us, He doesn't see a broken cup that's of no purpose and value, right? He sees a clean and whole and made right cup. And this cup actually now could be used again, can it? It can serve a purpose for which it was originally made. Did you know in Ephesians 2, 8 through 10, it talks about how that we are saved by grace We didn't earn it. It's not something that was done by works, and that we've actually been saved for a purpose. You see, God has works that He wants us to do. He wants us to live a righteous or good life that glorifies and honors Him and draws others to Him. And so today, I hope that you understand a little bit more about what it means for sin to separate us, for sin to break us, but then how Jesus comes and makes us whole, and how you can believe in Him and have eternal life. Well, I hope that's a valuable object lesson to you. I would love to hear in the comments what are some good object lessons that you do that clearly and concretely and succinctly teach the really great message of salvation to kids. Well, thank you for watching. Appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great week this week in children's ministry.